Welcome to my channel. Another Boobiephile reads Playboy for the articles. That is my naughty channel name for GarbAugust. It is the event created by Screamin' Olly, where he invites a whole gang of co-hosts, including me and a lot of others who I will list in the description of this video, and he's encouraging people to read trashy works. Now, trashy works are works that are a little salacious, maybe. They're on the cusp. They are books that are not necessarily appreciated by the literary critics or the general reading public, but are an awful lot of fun to read. And this is week 2, which was Paperbacks from Hell, or Vintage Smut. And before I get to my descriptions of my trashy reads, I'm going to take a short break to say that I listened to an audiobook for the BookTube Prize nonfiction category. Because this is an ongoing prize and there could be judges watching this video, I'm not going to give any real description of the book. Just to say that I'm just going to say that I read it. It was Eating to Extinction: The World's Rarest Foods and Why We Need to Save Them by Dan Saldino. So now on to the trashy books. And this being Paperbacks from Hell week, I read Lupe by Gene Thompson. This is a book written in the mid to late 70s. It is the story of a young woman. She's married to a doctor and they are living in San Francisco. They have just bought a very expensive home and they hope to be having a child. They're having some difficulties conceiving. And one day this woman is talking to her best friend, and they are introduced to a child, apparently a Hispanic child, who might be able to foretell their futures, named Lupe. And he is an evil child. And this woman, is sort of a little curious about him. This child has a spell on her, a curious hold. And he mentions the name of a woman. And the name of the woman he mentions is the name of her husband's lover. She knows her husband is having an affair, and she is willing to forgive him for his indiscretions. But Lupe has other ideas. And it's not a big spoiler. You read on the back that this woman winds up dead, and the wife is accused of killing her through witchcraft. Now, this is kind of curious because this is set in the 70s, and the woman is going to trial with the charge of killing someone by supernatural means. And it devolves into a courtroom drama. Now, that's all I'm going to say, other than this was a pretty darn good book. As far as I know, this is the only book that Gene Thompson ever wrote. It is competently written. The style is a little staccato for my taste. Some people like that chopped up really quick style. And I have to admit that I flew through the first part of this book really, really fast. Once you get to the courtroom scene, it does drag a bit, but the courtroom scene in itself is kind of fascinating, where you see a prosecutor trying to pull up all the ancient laws against witchcraft and apply it to a modern courtroom scene. And the judge is a little too lenient on that to be believable, I think, but it's good for a story because you're mixing witchcraft and the modern court. And is the woman, Emily, guilty? Well, Lupe is out there. And this is Lupe. This is a step back cover. I love step back covers. I wish they did them some more. I'd buy more paperbacks if they did. But as a vintage horror paperback, It's pretty darn good. I read this as a buddy read. There was MJ, there was Bad with Red, and there was Nettie. Most of us liked it. I think one of them, I think it was Nettie, did not like it as much as the rest of us, but it's fascinating. And as MJ says, the author went into some research to make the witchcraft charges seem at least within the realm of possibility of what you do in a law court. Very fascinating. And because this is GarbAugust, we have the GarbAugust bingo card. And I have my stamp. Now, this is pink, and I'm using a pink stamp because it belongs to my wife. And I don't have a bingo blotter myself, so I'm just going to use hers, and I don't care if I'm using pink. And what I am going to do is a book with killer kids. Okay, there is a killer kid, but you know, I'm counting it. And it also counts as a book with a step back cover. So 2 more blots on my GarbAugust bingo card. After that, I started reading Panther. Notice the exclamation point. This is a killer animal book. It starts off with 2 men who run a Hollywood production company. And they have invested very heavily in this movie called Panther, with the exclamation point. Unfortunately, they invested a little too heavy. And it's becoming obvious that this movie is going to be a dud. And when it's a dud, they're going to go out of business. So one of the men decides, let's have a really interesting promotion at the premiere in New York City. Let's capture 20 wild panthers and have them in cages outside the movie. Sounds like a great plan. Unfortunately, this book is a little on the dull side. The characters didn't move me, the writing style didn't move me, and the plot, I was snoring. I just couldn't get through this. And I DNF'd this book at page 50. It has a really, really great cover. You got that big old panther lying over this woman in this see-through dress, and you're just thinking this is going to be a great book about a panther killing people in New York City. And no, I couldn't get to the good part. I just had to quit. But, you know, no need to conclude. But I'm still going to count it for my GarbAugust bingo card. I'm going to do the killer animal and the book with an exclamation point, because I gave the book an honest try to finish it. Now, after that, I read a book on my Kindle. That was Night in the Lonesome October by Richard Laymon. Richard Laymon is a famous or notorious horror writer. He was an American horror writer living in California, but most of his books were published in England during his lifetime. He did get some fame after he had died. Now, this is a story narrated by a 20-year-old man at a university in California. Wilmington University, I think. I don't think it's a real town or a real university. But he has been just dumped by his girlfriend. And he is all sad and moody. Oh, poor me, my girlfriend dumped me. And then he meets up with one of his girlfriend's friends. And it becomes obvious that this other girl, who was also dumped by her boyfriend, kind of has the hots for the guy. His name's Eddie. And she is just a little too eager to have fun with Eddie. I wish I had met some girls like that in my youth, but it's a Laymon book. And all the women are very interested in sexual relationships in a Laymon book. That's just as part of the course. So poor Eddie has to deal with being all moony over his girlfriend and dealing with another girl who likes him. And of course, you know, they're going to go to bed together. But he likes to wander around at night. And one night he's wandering around after everyone's gone to bed, and he sees this girl with a ponytail, and he's following her. Because why not follow a girl with a ponytail when you're a young man and late at night in California? And she goes into a house, and he doesn't think anything. He says, oh, she lives here. So the other night he comes in, and there's a light on in the house. He goes, ooh, let me go spy on the girl with the ponytail. So yeah, he plays Peeping Tom, and he sees a woman getting undressed. It's a Laymon book. Women get undressed in Laymon books. And but it's not the girl with the ponytail. It's another woman, a little bit older. Ooh, this is kind of fun. And then he goes wandering around, and he meets up with a man at a late night donut shop who has seen him the other night with the other girl. I forgot the second girl's name. And he wants to meet her. And he knows this guy's kind of weird because he insists on Eddie taking him to where this girl lives, and he doesn't. He sort of gets into his pickup truck and then stabs the man with the pen and escapes. But he knows this man's out on the prowl for the other woman. And that's all the plot I'm going to give you. Other than there are some horror elements to this. I'm going to say that there are people living under a bridge who may or may not be cannibals. Because, of course, you know, cannibals in California in modern day, yeah, let's just go with it. I believe this book was written around 2000, so probably set somewhere in the late 90s. It was written somewhere around there, but still, cannibals living under a bridge? Sounds delicious. So it all gets together, and let me just say that there are some women involved. I've also mentioned 3. And let's just say people lose their clothes by the end of the book, because why not have an end scene where everyone's naked? It's a Richard Laymon book, and that's just part of the course when you're reading Richard Laymon. Now, I enjoyed this book. It is not Richard Laymon's best book, but as something for GarbAugust, yeah, perfect trashy read. This is the kind of book that GarbAugust is meant for. It's not serious. It's fun to read. It's a little salacious at times, with everyone getting naked and wanting to have sex all the time. That's what you get with Richard Laymon. So I definitely would give it that a thumbs up. And that is what I've read for week 2. Now, week 4 is going to be novelizations while I'm picking up The Omen. That's going to be pretty good. But here we go again. We have the bingo card, and there is a spot for a Richard Laymon book. There we go. I'm making my way through the GarbAugust bingo card. Well, anyway, thank you for watching, and keep on reading trashy books in August.